Hello. Oh, I just got to unmute you. Or else I'm going to be talking to myself the whole time. There we go.
Yeah, there you go.
Hello. How are you?
Hi. I'm okay. How are you?
I'm good. It's nice to see your face. How's it going?
Yeah, you
Here?
too. Yeah, I feel like, so I had the last 2 weeks of December off, which I was super fortunate and grateful for. However, that just made starting this week back up just, I almost spent the first 2 week days back just going, what do I even do?
Yeah. Who am I?
Trying to
Where am I? What
remember
time?
yeah, what's my job? Who are these
Yeah,
people that want things from me? I don't know what I do.
I know.
And I started a new medication last week at the same time. So it's like I'm developing some of the side effects, which are like brain fog and attention span issues. I'm like, fantastic. That's great.
Gosh. All at once, right?
All at once. Yeah. It's a perfect storm right now in my head. It's great.
It's all good. It's all good. I am very happy and grateful that you're here. Yeah, I just really want to just take this time to like number one, just like celebrate you, and we can talk about obviously some wins and things like that. And then just kind of like have you share your experience. It always is just like so helpful, from other people. Just kind of like hearing people's experiences and just like giving other people hope as to what
Oh my
truly
God,
is
yes.
possible. Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So why don't we go back? So I'll never forget, you joined a master class of mine, and then
Hmm.
right after the master class, you like messaged me right away and you're like, I'm ready. You're like, I need help figuring out which program to join, but you were so ready. So let's go back
Yeah.
to that time. What made you be so ready to work on healing your relationship with food?
I think I absolutely believe in divine timing. So I think that that was just like you came into my life exactly when I needed you. And I'm not the type of person to hem haw around on things. So I felt like she came into my life this exact moment. This is when I'm not going to take the time to sit and think about it. I just need to jump on it right now. Yeah, so I messaged you right away, and I just thought there is no time to wait on this kind of thing. There's those TikToks going around like, what is your Roman Empire? Like my body is my Roman Empire. Like it's in my brain every day, all day, the size of my body, what I'm eating, what I should eat, what I shouldn't eat, my clothes, my size, everything. So it's been something that has weighed on me my entire life, no pun intended. So I've in your master class, I feel like it just struck a chord with me. And I was like, I would be dumb to wait any longer
Yeah.
to pursue what could be a solution for me.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So it just felt like it would be silly to wait. There's just no point.
Yeah. Yeah. And I love that you shared that because it's like when you hear information that is like starting to already change
Mhm.
your life, it's like
Yeah.
look no further type of thing.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you're open to talk about this. I know that you're doing like therapy as well.
Mhm.
How has what you've learned in the academy, like the whole like rewiring your brain, getting rid of your urges, like how has that been different than therapy?
Because therapy has its place
Yeah.
and it's definitely helped me, but I feel like it's a different type of help. With what you're doing, it's such a specialized service, so to speak. You've been there, you know exactly what everybody's going through. It's an eating disorder. It's not something that can just be treated with like a boilerplate kind of approach. So I feel like and I feel like that this is something that you really need a community for.
Yes.
It's not something that you can speak to a therapist about, and I've tried to speak to therapists about it before, and you just feel like they just don't get it. Like, I feel like anybody that connects with you and connects with the binge eating community, everybody has their story about how they try to talk to somebody and they just don't get it. You just feel like they kinda glaze over and they're like, "Yeah, I know I do that," and you're like, "No, you don't. You don't get it."
Yeah.
And as helpful as a therapist I have, and as grateful I am as I am for her, like, I still don't feel like she gets it. Here, I know that you get it. I know that the other people in the community get it, and you feel heard and seen and understood in ways that you just don't in traditional therapy.
Yeah.
And I've been to multiple therapists,
Yeah.
and you just don't, they just don't get it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I really love that you shared, like, therapy, like having somebody to vent to, having somebody to, share your feelings about or whatever, like that is so incredibly beneficial. But like you
Mhm.
said, there is nothing like feeling so seen and understood with exactly what it is that you're going,
Yeah,
not having to try to explain what binging
right.
is. It's like, no, I get it.
Yeah.
And why don't you talk about the community a little bit? Because, I created the community aspect for that pure reason of really helping you guys feel less alone. And why don't you share like anything you want to talk about in terms of the community, like even like the Slack or our coaching calls? Like, how did you even feel just kind of like hearing other people share either wins or even, somebody was sharing a struggle and then you felt less alone? Like, is there anything you want to talk about in terms of the community that was like really supportive for you?
I feel like, and I'll be completely honest, when I came into the community, you see women from all walks of life. And I don't want to say women because it can be of any gender, whatever, but it is predominantly women. Um, I saw women and I was like, she's like half my age. Like, there's nothing, we're not going to have anything in common. Like, there's no way she's going to be. And I'm like, you find yourself going, oh my God, like, no, she gets it. She understands. And you connect with these people that you're just like, no, you just feel less alone in your struggles, and you see other people that go through things and you feel like they could have been inside your own head, pulling stories out, and you've been like, I've been through that, and maybe there was something that you felt like, I can't say that. There's no way I can put that out there. And then somebody else will say it for you.
Mm-hmm.
It's like some sort of divine intervention. Like, oh, you thought you couldn't say that? Well, here's somebody else saying it for you.
Yeah. Giving
And
you
then
that.
yes, giving you that voice. So here's the help that you needed with that thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like, it is there for you in ways that you didn't know you needed
Mm-hmm.
or expected. Because I
Totally.
think a lot of these kinds of groups and coaching things are like, oh, we have a community, blah, 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 blah. Like, yeah, they do. Like, if we have Facebook groups, yeah, okay. But like with what you've created with this Slack community, it's different. And then a Facebook group, it's more close knit. It just feels more developed. Um, it's just different, and in the most wonderful way.
Yeah. I feel like it's just like our little like safe place. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it is. It
It's
is
it's
totally.
so exclusive and it's like
Yeah.
only like the super badasses get to come
Yeah.
in.
And you know what? I think honestly, because it's removed off of Facebook and on its own platform, that makes it that much more special and almost more intentional that you have to leave a social platform to get there.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
like that's sorry, that's my marketing mindset. Like
No,
thinking like that you
literally created Slack because I'm like, I don't want you guys scrolling on social
yeah.
media all day long. Like,
Mhm.
let's create a little healing hub over here, you know?
Yeah. Oh, Healing Hub. That's so like TM. Like that's so perfect. You should totally trademark that. Healing Hub.
Yeah.
I love that. Yes,
Yeah.
because it's what you're doing is so much goes so much further beyond food and
Mhm.
eating. Because yes, I'm doing the therapy, but also like when I would come to you and we would have our coaching calls, that as may as well have been another therapy session that I had that week
Yeah.
because I left feeling that way.
Yeah. Hmm.
So it's just another level of therapy that I wasn't expecting to get out of it.
Interesting. Yeah. I think people initially, obviously know that they're binging or they're emotional overeating. And then it's like when they come in, they realize like there's so many more layers that we
Oh
have
my God.
to dive into. It's not like, okay, what are you eating for breakfast? Like we barely even talk about like what you're eating because it's not,
No, it's not the food.
yeah,
It is so much more than the food.
yeah. What what was like a breaking point for you? Because I feel like there's been moments in time, obviously, in your journey where there's been like certain like breaking points where you kind of like saw a light at the end of the tunnel where you're like, oh, okay, like I think this can work. Like, okay, maybe I have thoughts of going back to dieting, but like, no, I know that this is gonna work. What what kept you going? What allowed you to stay on this path of healing your relationship with food?
It's definitely ongoing because I still feel like I'm very much in the midst of a healing process. I still catch myself. But I think having talked through it so many times with you and on the coaching calls and with the community, and just learning that what I'm looking for is not in the food has been the thing that's been kind of like the epiphany, like you're chasing dopamine.
Mhm.
Okay, but why?
Yeah.
Like, and what other things can I do to try to get that? Um, and like right now, I'm realizing it's scrolling on my phone, which is still not a thing I want to be doing, but at least I'm not shoving food in my face.
Yeah.
So, so that's been the thing. It's just peeling back the layers. Like to go back to the onion analogy, it's like realizing that it is more than the food and just trying to uncover those layers of why am I doing this? That keeps driving me along the process,
Hmm.
and realizing that I have tools to use to kind of, it's more than just a distraction. And you know, I feel like that didn't really answer your question all that well, but yeah, I'm still very much in the midst of it.
Yeah.
And
I think, it's so common to have those thoughts of wanting to go back to dieting because, again, it's like for yourself, it's like you've done it for so long. It almost feels
yeah,
so wrong to not be dieting.
yeah, it does. And it
Yeah.
makes me mad, especially this time of year,
Yes. Yes.
because it's everywhere.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's like I try to watch TV and oh,
I know.
there are certain commercials that just trigger me.
Yeah. Totally. And this is, I
And
think, also another reason why the community is so important because I feel like you've had kind of those moments of like, I want to go back to dieting. And then you would plug into the community. And then it's like, I want to go back. And then we would have a conversation. And it was like, if you can just take one step forward every single day, it's like, that diets aren't the solution, but it's like,
yeah,
brain just convinces you, like, you know how to get there. Like, you know how to lose weight. You know how to
yeah,
and it's like, I could easily just do it tomorrow. Like, it's so easy. But healing your relationship with food is a process that takes time. And it's like, well, I can just do this quick fix thing over here and get results tomorrow.
yeah. I just had the exact same conversation with my doctor last week because she's at towards the end of the appointment. She's like, so is there anything else that you want to talk about? And I didn't even plan on talking to her about my weight. And I was just like, I know I need to lose weight. I am really unhappy in my body. And I said, I told her about finding you, and I said, I'm really trying to work on healing that. But I know that diets don't work for me because I will inevitably end up back in a binge. And she's like, I'm really sorry to hear that, but I'm really glad that you've identified that you need to work on your relationship with food.
Yes.
So, and that's like really important that she said that, because, and it makes me so mad. Like the whole diet industry, it's like what you're cultivating in this community of like women who all understand that fuck the diet industry. They're
Yeah.
all just out here making money on the fact that we continually fail over and over and over again. And those of us that just are, and it's affecting our health mentally, physically. It's now become a soapbox of mine.
Yeah.
But yeah, the fact that we can all like get in and understand that for us as within the community, it's such a trigger to restrict like that. And as I always come back to your like basketball underwater analogy, that I'm like, God, that's what it is. And I was just talking to my friend last night. And she was like, because she and I have both struggled with our entire lives. And she was like, well, that's how years ago she went on one of those like slim fast diets where you have a shake for breakfast and you have a shake for lunch and you have a reasonable dinner. She's like, that just worked for me so well because I knew what I was having for lunch and I breakfast. And I was like, no, 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 that doesn't work for me. Like, you don't understand.
Yeah.
She's like, but then you don't have to think about it. I'm like, no, 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 no. The thinking about it is not the problem. It's the you telling me that that's all I can have. And
Yeah,
then my brain is obsessing about all the things that I can't have. And
exactly.
that's all I want.
Yes. Yeah.
And then it's the basketball under the water. And
Yeah.
now you're pushing and you're pushing and you're pushing until eventually it explodes and I eat the entire box of donuts.
Yeah. Yeah. That analogy is like so good. And for anyone listening, basically what she's referring to is like, if you think about like holding a basketball underwater, that's like you having all these rules of like, you can't eat this, or you can only eat this amount, or you can't eat after a certain time, and you're holding the basketball underwater and it creates so much pressure. And obviously you can't be holding the ball underwater for, you know, a super, super long time. Eventually your arms are going to get tired. You're going to have to release the ball, aka the ball pops up from underneath the water, aka you're spiraling out of control and eating, like you said, all of those foods that you're not allowed to have, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I just even want to say, like, I'm so proud of you for number one, like just even coming to that realization that diets don't work, because again, how easy is it to just be like,
Yeah.
oh, but I'm going to just believe that they work. And it's like, no,
They don't.
no, you
It's
know?
bullshit.
Yeah. Um, so let's jump into some wins, or like some things that you've been able to experience, you know, in this program, like some wins you want to share, no matter how small or how big. Like what wins do you want to celebrate, that you want to just kind of riff on?
One for me, and I went back and looked through the Slack channel because if you're thinking about joining the group, and the Slack group that we keep referring to, Lorna has all these amazing channels that you can go in and post, and one of them is wins. And I went back in and looked at what I had posted today, and one of them was that I was eating and I looked at the package and saw that a serving size is 3 cookies, and it just reiterated. I had this epiphany where I was like, that's bullshit. Like, that's just some random number that they decided to put on there and tell me that 3 cookies is a serving size. I can have as many cookies as I want to have. But like, when you live in this society of diet and restriction, we're made to feel like we can't have more than a serving size. We can't have more than 3 cookies because somebody at Nabisco or whatever told me that I can't have more than 3 cookies.
Yeah.
I can have as many cookies as I want to have until
Yeah.
I'm satisfied, or
Yeah.
as many or as few. So that was one of the wins I had. It was just this epiphany, and it's just such a bigger topic idea um, to think about. But just that whole restriction thing that we live in within the diet culture and society, it's like these imposed bogus serving sizes.
Yeah.
Uh, that yeah, that was one of the things that occurred to me. And then just diet culture overall, I don't think I realized at how mad about the entire thing I was until I got into the group.
Yeah.
And how in just everywhere it is all the time. Um, and it just makes me crazy, and trying, and I have a daughter, a 13-year-old daughter, and trying to raise her to be okay with her body and not deal with societal pressure to be a certain size or get on a diet. Like, I started my first diet when I was probably like 10 years old.
Yeah.
I don't want her to live that life.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, so this experience has reinforced that for me, to make sure that she doesn't grow up hating her body
Yeah.
the way that I did.
Yeah.
Like, that's not fair to her.
Yeah. And it's not
And
fair.
also, right. And I don't want her to see me hate my body either,
Yeah.
because I grew up with my mother seeing my mom hate on her body.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's just a terrible thing to pass on.
Totally. Totally. And
Yeah.
it is so sad because it's like you just look at, like you said, what your mom was doing, and it's like, oh well, if she doesn't like her body, well then I must that like that's what I
There
have
must
to do.
be something wrong with mine too.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think this is good for just anyone listening to get freaking pissed off at diet culture.
Yeah.
Like, I think so many people get mad at themselves. Like, what's wrong with me? Why can't I stick to it? And there's actually nothing wrong with you. Like this whole diet situation over here, like you got to get mad at them, and you got to get mad at, these industries that are making you believe that you're the problem. Like that's what
Mhm.
I get mad at, you know?
Yeah, absolutely.
Totally.
Yeah. And in the world we live in today, it's really hard
Yes.
because of social media. Everything's in your face. It's
Yep.
nearly unavoidable.
Yep. Yeah.
And I mean, we're adults and we still have a hard time picking and choosing what we're subjected to on a daily basis.
Yeah. Yeah. And you go out for dinner with friends and that's all they're talking about, or you're going
Hmm.
to a social event, or you're talking to someone, or you meet somebody, and it's just always around, And what I would
Yeah, yeah.
say, like, when you do your part in continuing to heal your relationship with food, it's like people can talk about diet culture and it like goes past your head because you are so solid in knowing that this is the right path for you. You are so solid and understanding that that's bullshit and it doesn't work, so that it doesn't affect you as much. Obviously it's still challenging, but like
Yeah,
that's the goal. That's truly the goal,
yeah,
uh,
yeah.
so as we start to wrap up here, what do you feel was like your favorite part of the academy? Like no other program had like this concept, or no other program had this experience. Like what was your just like favorite part?
Um, Probably the coaching calls.
Hmm.
The scheduled coaching calls, just having that, knowing that that was going to be there every week. And I didn't come religiously. I didn't, Lorna knows that I was not the best at coming every week, but knowing that I could, and I would be there, she would be there to talk to, you'd be there, the other community members would be there, whoever was available to talk. And it's just an open session to talk about whatever's on your mind. It's basically like an open therapy session.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to talk.
Yep.
You just, it's like that. I feel like it's kind of silly, but like that give a penny, take a penny thing. Like,
Yeah.
if you need to give something, if you need to talk, if you just need to listen and receive, then it's there for you. I think that was, and the community in the Slack channel is an extension of that.
Yes. Yeah.
Um,
I kind of call those calls like almost like momentum calls, because I feel like even you, like
yeah,
anytime you would come on, even if I just said like one little goal and nugget, it's like a custom plan for you. It's just momentum. Like you just gotta like
totally.
continue to plug in to keep taking those steps forward.
Yes. Every time I would get off of those calls, because I work from home, I'm a victim of self-isolation. Like I stay in, the more I stay in, the more I want to stay in. I don't leave the house, especially in Ohio in the winter. It's cold. I don't want to leave. But if I would force myself to show up for these calls, it would force some sort of connection.
Yes.
And I would always feel better getting off of the calls. And I felt lighter,
Yes.
and like I had, and I think that's where it starts to go beyond the whole food and weight loss body thing. That's when it starts to transcend into the mind. Like you just need that
Yeah.
on a human level.
Yes. Connection.
Hmm.
So important.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Are there any last minute things you want to share? Anything you want to share about the academy, your experience working with me? Any last minute things you want to?
I think that the world is a brighter place because Lorna is in it. And we should all be grateful that we're here in the world experiencing it while she is here as well. Um, and that if you haven't had the opportunity to work with her on a one-on-one basis, you absolutely should, because she is a ray of sunshine. Um, I can't say enough nice things about you. I absolutely adore you and the community that you've built. I think that if your message just is phenomenal, and having that you have been through it is just that much more. I think it's that much more valuable. So
Yeah.
I'm so, so grateful for having found you.
Oh, well, I'm grateful that we crossed paths, and I'm also so grateful that you tap into your intuition right after that masterclass. You're like,
Yeah.
I am gonna join the academy. Like you just felt it and you leaned
Yeah.
into it, because so many people would just feel the fear and they're like, oh, guess that
Oh
means
no,
I'm not gonna do it. And you didn't let fear hold
no.
you back. So
Everything you want is on the other side of fear,
yes,
is
let's
what I believe.
go. Badass, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. I'm so grateful for you. And honestly, just even your time, like people just listening to this, even if they get like one little glimmer of hope, like it will just mean
Absolutely.
so. I appreciate you.
Yes.
Thank you.
I appreciate you too.
Yes. Have an amazing rest of your day. We'll definitely stay connected. And thank you
For
once again.
sure. Wonderful. Thank you, Lorna.
You're welcome. Bye.
Okay. Bye-bye.